Must it be our thing? Like, I thought. But I think the one thing I really want to start off with would be Ntiki Mazwai's polygamy post. Like,
white point of view that came into how we do. Then the system was like, oh, look at polygamy, the men are sluts. Oh my God. And look how they just treat the women. And to be honest with you, now I'm in my 40s. Like, there is nothing wrong with polygamy. Essentially, polygamy made sure that everybody, all the women are sorted out. It's cool. And it was open. Now we've got a situation where it's cheating. And oh, I'm so hurt. But these are all constructs, social constructs that came Nabedu, which is cheating on you. You know, before it wasn't, it's like, okay, that's my sister wife, I get on with my things here. Now it's like, it's called cheating and it's a bad thing. And you know,
cheating is a social construct.
Cheating is a social.
There's no such thing as cheating.
Who did God say that men and women must be married and sign papers? Is that a divine? Is that just like how we breathe and how we need water, right? Do we need marriage and papers? You're not going to drop dead. God is not going to strike you with lightning because you've married two people. So marriage is a social construct. We made it up.
So what's your take?
Oh my God. I think for me, I know we're going to say the Bible this, the Bible that, but there's so many other religious texts that have been written in life, and they're not as popular as the Bible, right? And granted, the Bible has been bastardized from, because we know that the Ethiopian church has the longest standing idea of Christianity. And if we're going to take it to a biblical point of view where we say in the Bible, God didn't punish people that had concubines, etc., etc. I don't know. For me, that's a bit off because biblically speaking, when he did start, he started with one pairing, a man and a woman, period. He didn't say man, woman, and his helper, Maria. He literally said man and woman, period. We all know that even when we take it down to sex, when you have sex with someone, you guys bond on a soul level. So for me, saying the argument that there's nothing wrong with polygamy because the Bible, I don't think it's valid. I just think on a moral scale, I think polygamy allows for a lot of the sinful things that we don't like jealousy, coveting people's things. Because if it's just me and my man, I don't have to vie for his attention. Jealousy is not going to happen. I'm not going to want to murder my sister wife. But the moment we have that structure happening, trust me, I'm going to be acting out of character. That's my idea. I just don't believe that polygamy is it, period.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, and not so much as... Okay, so I agree with you in that I think the way our society is now is not primed for polygamy. Because, you know, in the video...
No.
Yeah, in the video, she was like, oh my God, cheating is a social construct. And I hate that so much. To me, the argument of saying something is a social construct, it doesn't mean the thing is not real. In fact, you're even validating why the thing is even more real. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly. It doesn't... Right, yeah.
It's also funny because she starts the video being like, I'm 40 now. And I'm like, age is a social construct. So we're going to say, you're not 40, because she's saying she understands polygamy now because she's older. But I'm like, even the idea of age in itself is a social construct. But does that mean it's not real?
Oh my God, this is why I like how you think. I think what she needs to, or rather, let me not say what she needs to do. I think that she's speaking from her personal experiences of relating with people and maybe coming across situations where they want polygamy. And therefore, in her mind, it becomes a social construct. Not that cheating is a social construct. Like, there's a reason why morals and values exist. Full stop. There's a reason why when you marry someone, it is considered wrong to step out on the marriage. You get me?
Yeah. So all this to say, I think our society is not primed for polygamy. Specifically in the context of it being a, capitalist, individualistic society. Like, we're not women who are raised to be like, for example, to not see other women as competition, for example. Even the most advanced or woke of us, we still have that thing because like we've been raised in a society that's like, not to sound like a pick-me,
individualistic,
but right? Like what you were saying, like jealousy, etc., are going to come up inevitably because we have been primed in this society where partnership with a man is not seen as primarily, it's because we are building and we are procreating. No, we are completely different reasons than what Nsiki may be implying. And I actually believe that Nziki herself, personality-wise, I don't think she would be all about this temple. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, I feel like, because she prides herself on being
She's
the
very strong. She's got a strong, yeah, she's got a very strong personality.
She does that. You think that's timed for this type of and the other thing I wanted to say is like some of these takes on polygamy, they like idealize this society, like pre-colonial society, where it's like, oh, but the jealousy wasn't a thing. We were just, sharing men and whatever. But at the end of the day, there's none of us actually have like concrete records and like solid historical records of what we were talking about. What was that society actually shaped like? So I can only speak in our current situation now, which is to say, I don't think it's a viable thing, even economically. Look at Musam Selek.
It's not. Hey, let's not take it too far. Look at him. Like, it's not looking too great, that side, hey?
Yeah.
Like, economically, can you really handle your women?
Never mind the emotional and psychological things that are informed by society. I don't like this thing. It's a social construct.
Social construct. I also don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, it gives a lot of excuses to like BS.
That's not a good argument, because just because something is a social construct doesn't mean it's not real.
Doesn't make it right.
Oh, in fact, it makes it even more real, because we are, after all, the most social of the species. That's why we are the way we are.
Exactly. So, amen. Yes.
You are real.
Definitely.
So yes, cheating is real specifically because it's a social construct. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's societally accepted. When actually, remember we were talking about this, how we accept men cheating more than we accept women cheating, right? And this is not to say we're condoning either one, but it's more acceptable when a man steps out than it is when a woman steps out. And again, it goes back to this whole conversation of social construct. Social construct means that it's socially acceptable to behave in that way, not that this is the standard.
It means everyone is, I'm saying it means everyone has sort of signed like a psychological contract that we are agreeing that this thing is this way. Hey, speaking of, we're about to talk about bourgeois.
I just had to have a little sippy sip.
What is that?
Can I just talk about, you know what, I'm going to link this alcohol chat to Saul's video when he was approaching Casper Nyoville.
I never said that. You're violence.
Butchering his surname, but I always like saying it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the video, Penny Lebyane, right? Mm-hmm. Because alcohol has people acting of themselves all the time. Like, if you're not drinking it because you like the taste, like I like the taste, and you're drinking it because you want to get lit, you're going to act like an idiot. Do you think Saul was sober in that video when he was like, talking to someone? I don't know if he badmouths Casper often, does he?
You know what? I realized
because
Saul and McGee have an interesting dynamic going on. So McGee will say something out of pocket, like crazy, and then maybe Saul will a little bit, but not really. But that not really means that usually whatever McGee says, people align Saul with that thing, because in Grootman culture, like even if you challenge your bro, like, why are you being like that? Do you know what I mean? So it's like like plays a pseudo good guy by sometimes pushing back, but not even if he does. So I wouldn't, because even in the video he was drunk and he was like, Casper, I really like you.
Yes, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I was like, but don't talk badly about this guy.
Yeah, or I don't know the clip of McGee where you were saying Casper Nyovest is a washed up rapper. I don't know what Saul said.
Yeah, but I think in context of the show,
they're aligned in that. People just end up aligning them because Saul doesn't really push back, because at the end of the day, McGee's is boss.
Yeah. But there was too many moments where he sort of pandered to what McGee's saying, and I think it has a lot to do with alcohol.
Please join me, dog. Let's stop drinking for a while, dog.
Yeah. No, let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. Alcohol is unproductive, dog.
It's not. Like, let's not lie.
Bro, imagine how many.
Nice. Strap doors, but fact of the matter is, it's not. It's not.
Go on, dog. I'm listening. Go on, dog. I'm listening.
We like drunk McG.
Was I ashamed they're drinking that chiller's punch in that whole show, hey?
You know what? And I didn't realize this because that's also the other thing. These people drink so much that their drunk selves look normal. Until someone pointed out to me that they're like, you do realize Saul is slurring his words. I was like, oh, these people are.
He does that a lot. And on radio, on his morning show, he doesn't speak like that. And I mean, one could say it's brand alignment because the show is different, but breakfast show, he's not slurring his words. He's not saying things out of pocket. In fact, I quite like him on his morning show. I prefer Saul on his morning show than I Saul on show. And that's fine. That's also very much fine. But I do think that alcohol has a very big part of it. And that's where Penny Lebyane's video comes in.
Period.
I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I think there's definitely a push or there's a concerted effort to sell alcohol to certain populations. You just have to go take a walk in a local township. What makes it especially strange, the way we are like conditioned to drink alcohol, is that there is no like social stigma about drinking alcohol. So, okay, I'm gonna bring other races into it. White people drink. You know how common it is for white kids to be like, yeah, my dad has a liquor cabinet. In fact, sometimes their children to take part in the liquor cabinet. Yeah. And the reason why they do that is that their kids will end up drinking at home, etc. You know, they can keep them safe and all of these things. But when you look at the population that is the most affected by alcohol abuse, there's almost like a public display that happens. I don't know if you remember, but during the festive season in the Eastern Cape, for example, there was so many videos of old people lying on the ground, drunk.
It was our people.
Yeah, and it's like we find it funny, like the community is something to laugh at when someone is, oh, it's amusing, and it's not seen as, oh, this is a representation of our image. And I know the people, oh my God, that's such a racially charged take, but it is.
It's like not. It's literally what it is.
You might be surprised that we, Black people, drink just as much as I'm gonna say like the white race, for example. It's just that for us, for some reason, I don't know what it is, there's like an encouragement to make it like a public spectacle too. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not talking in the context of when I was in university, the white boys would streak when they drank and run across the streets, etc. I'm talking like across all age groups, generally in your everyday society, like someone being drunk and walking in the street is like a ha-ha moment, and it's not like a taboo to be publicly drunk. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's like the special angle that we have, or like the exception that we have. Like for some reason, not only is drinking pushed on us, but we've also accepted it and we parade it.
Exactly. We play a part
as a point of amusement.
I completely agree with you. I think that definitely is an unpopular opinion because like what Penny Lebyane said, like I loved how she said everything, right? I don't have, obviously we don't have, I can't factually base the opinion regarding our mothers doing for alcohol places or alcohol spots to be moved from where they were working. I don't have actual knowledge about that. But if you think about it, one way to definitely disarm a nation is remove the fathers and make them drunkards. Like once you've done that, you have got a nation hooked and locked and it's a mess. And then you're going to find us in an entire season. The festive season was a mess with those videos. Like I actually cringed because there's a point in our Africanness where adults were revered and respected and protected and but now those videos, bruh, it is uncles, it is grandmothers, it is aunties, everyone. Like there's a point where that one video, like everyone that was there was like lying on the floor, and the people who were taking the video was young people. Everyone, you could see cooler boxes open. You could see it was just a mess. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand how this is funny. I wouldn't want to show my people, like my family members, on social media in that light. Like I wouldn't want, like let's say you and I are chilling at home and we just have a few too many. I am absolutely not going to live stream you in that state. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that because I don't love you. I'm not respecting you. I'm not protecting you. I'm not being your custodian in that moment. In that moment, I am being your, what's the word? I am playing part in the mockery of us as a people. And then we expect us as a people to progress when we play a part in our own mockery. That will be one thing I'll never understand. That's my unpopular opinion. Period.
Yeah. And so there was a systemic effort to inject alcohol into Black communities, because I don't know where I read it or something, but apparently it would be that where Black men used to work, like the miners, etc., like during apartheid, they would say that so from work there would be like a literal beer drinking place, so that even before they first have a chance to spend the money on
that's what she was saying in the video.
So I'm saying, yes, there is a systemic effort to push alcohol, right? No, seriously, do you know how many
recording this?
Yes. You know, there are literal bottle stores, like it's so insane, like next to schools, like if you go to townships next to schools,
the placement is quite curious.
I'm saying, minus the systemic effort to sell us the alcohol, there has been that systemic effort has resulted in like a common acceptance of being drunk, and kids watch that, and it's easy for them to emulate that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because us as well, in as much as drinking is like pushed on us, we've accepted it as it's like, you know, you can't have fun without booze. What you were saying, especially like when being pushed onto them, like, you know how it's like a running joke, like X type of ethnicity loves alcohol. Like I've seen that, like these types of women, and they name different ethnicities, like Tswana, Tosa, whatever. And they're like, oh, this one loves alcohol. Of course she does. She's this ethnicity. Oh, of course she loves alcohol. She's this ethnicity. It's that type of language that makes it like, oh yeah, we just
it's okay.
So who inherently love alcohol. So it's not to say other races don't love alcohol. They do. But
no, it's not. They do.
But the
story behind it is different.
The social amusement that we have with alcohol, the space we've held for it, is very particular to us. You know?
I do. And I think the one thing that got me from that Penny video the most was we now do little parties for our kids, and we call them mocktails. So we're priming them already. Like, let's say my baby now, her birthday is coming up, and we have little mocktails of hers.
You have strawberry.
We rang with them. Like, what do you do? Why? Like, can we make age-appropriate things age-appropriate? Like, you know what I mean? Like, respect the fact that you can only start drinking later on.
Kids act the way you do. I'm saying kids act the way you do. So even without you doing the mocktails, they can see you every day. You are taking out your whatever, your savannah, whatever. And you know, they will literally emulate you, and they notice. They're noticing, right?
I'm not going to lie. I love dry red wine because my daddy has always had dry red wine, but how my dad drank is important. My dad would always have like a glass of red wine a couple of times a week at the end of the day. The same kind of habit around alcohol, which goes to show that kids do what you do and not what you say.
And also, that's also the other. I don't drink as much because I don't like the taste, but so many people will say, "Hi, we're not drinking for taste." You know, like so many people.
We want to forget our problems.
Yeah, And I'm like, okay, that's giving alcoholic a little bit, But
Not that's
I think that's definitely, I think the uniqueness of Black people's drinking problem is that in our collective consciousness, it's a funny thing to do. Funny and
I absolutely agree with you. I love how you said it, in our collective consciousness, because that's a real thing. I think it goes back to the whole point about what's happening in pop culture and popular content, and why we actually decided to start our podcast. Remember, we were like, we want an update on pop culture, but we don't want an update on pop culture that's demeaning. I actually wrote it down and I want to say it right? Where is this? Where is it? Oh, this is the statement I'm speaking from, right? It says, I think who said it? I think Lebu Lion said it. You are not authentic or brave if your truth violates another's right to a safe, dignified life, right? And I know it sounds very individualistic, but I feel like with popular content, it does not help us in any way. The way that it's done right now, I'm not going to mention the podcast for obvious reasons, but we've already spoke about it a bit. But anything that makes us look bad as Black people is just perpetuating the struggles that we already have. It's not helping us. I would rather we have content. Sharp, there's a way to speak about entertainment, and we're doing it right now. I really feel like there is a way that you can speak about entertainment without demeaning a people, without, damaging the dignity of a people. You get me?
I think, this will be programs like Moja Love.
Yo.
No, but
yo.
Or like, so unfortunately, the thing is, those TV shows get made because the ratings are insane. Like, people tune in to watch those. But then again, it's like a vicious cycle where, yes, a lot of Black people are in poverty because of systematic reasons. And then our collective consciousness, of course, then accepts that as like, this is a reality. And it is because it's a reality. So when we see things like...
It is a reality.
Yeah. When you see things like what's happening on Moja Love or whatever, it's like, oh, this is totally relatable to a lot of people. But that's the struggle for me. It's like, oh my God, where do we stop the bus to
draw the line?
You get what I mean?
But you know what my thing is? I do. But remember, growing up, bruh, like, we didn't have these kinds of shows growing up. And we still tuned into so many things. We tuned into Generations. I mean, Generations over the years has gotten unhinged, but we tuned into local television and the ratings was not a problem at the time. So it's like that conversation of, it's a social construct. So because it's a social construct, it's okay. I think just because it's a reality, it doesn't mean it still is okay for us to do that. Because at some point, I think Moja was writing scripts, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there's two actresses that came out, and this is allegedly, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
They came out and they said, oh, no, we were writing those storylines. You get me? Like,
so unfortunately, this vicious cycle, because we know there are systemic powers at play, the people who are writing the script, who are making this like it's a normal thing. Unfortunately, the buck has to stop with the people who are doing the consuming, which is us. But it's hard to collect the people. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so difficult.
I do.
The buck has to stop where it's like, oh, okay, these people have collectively decided that we're not going to be presented this way. And therefore, we're not going to watch things that, yes, it's a reality. Yes, it happens. But we are making a concerted effort to not have ourselves be represented in such a manner. And I'm going to make an extreme example. For example, China. China.
Okay, wait. Please hold me, because sometimes when you have your extreme examples, I'm like, what is you going to say? Okay. I'm ready.
Saying, for example, the Chinese government has made a concerted effort to make their own Googles. They have their own
everything.
Because they're really like making a concerted effort to be like, these are what our people believe in. But then again, it's so difficult for our people because it's, us,
So many things counts against us.
We love to say, yo, we are not a monolith. This is my unpopular opinion. You guys love to say as Black people, we're not a monolith. But sometimes I think put that down so that we can just have a nice,
real conversation
idea of what we are. Yes, I understand we're not a monolith. Of course, duh. But our stereotypes can't be cheating, broken households, alcohol. And yes, I understand not all Black people are like that. Yes, I understand that's a stereotype, right? But now when our top rating shows are the things that show stuff like that, it's like there has to be some
Then that's exactly what you are. Yo.
Difficult. Where do you even start? I'm even getting a headache now, like because yeah, and listen, if someone were to come in and listen and say, look, this is a very problematic take. We are perpetuating the idea that Black people are like this. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that,
but also by you consuming that content, you are allowing the perpetuation. You're allowing the narrative to continue. You're fueling the narrative, right? It's like that whole idea. If we don't like how pop culture is being delivered, let us be the ones to deliver it in the way that we like.
Yeah, and also even the way. So you're telling me, like, for example, with this whole Bhee mini thing, if people were like, we don't like the way you talk about women, we are actually going to stop watching.
What they did to, what's his name? Scott Maphuma.
Yeah. Oh, I have an appropriate take on that one. But let me finish this thought.
Okay.
If there was no one watching someone sitting down and saying out-of-pocket things, they wouldn't make those videos saying out-of-pocket things because no one is going to watch them. No one, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the we see that some people say they hate is because of popular consumption.
Popular consumption, yep.
Unfortunately, the reality is Bhee works or is a necessary evil because he is saying things that people think they want to say. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he's kind of like a reflection, or his popularity for me shows that majority of people think that way. They are interested in those types of things that he says, which is question.
Gotta protect the goods. No, I agree with you because at the end of the day, pop culture is what is popularly believed, and at this point, Bhee does have the monopoly in that. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if you guys genuinely, if you're someone who watches Bhee and you're like, I don't want to watch this, then stop watching it. Do you get what I'm saying? Or even the Metro FM, I see people often complain like, why are you guys doing Ask a Man? People are dying. There's war. Hey, there's political. But it's like, no, those people are doing Ask a Man. It's their top listened to segment on Metro FM. And whose fault is it? Okay. Oh, wait. We're going to talk about Scots first. My unpopular opinion on Scots. Yeah. I don't believe that's cancel culture. Simply because, did Scots do anything? No. All he said is, I hate you guys as fans or whatever. And people
that's a lot. He did a lot.
But for me, cancel culture is someone does something morally reprehensible and then you stop being fans. That's cancel culture.
That's the true essence.
If Bhee's views got to 15,000 after he said what he said about Mini, that's cancel culture. This is not cancel culture. This is just the public being petty because they feel like someone should be grateful for their support. I'm not saying that's right, but it's not cancel culture to me. People being
something.
Yeah, I just want to finish. People being vindictive because they feel like someone has not paid their dues to them as the public fans is not cancel culture. That is so not cancel. It's just people being petty, and that's fine. They're not right, but it's not cancel culture. This is not a moment to say this is cancel culture. Cancel culture would be if, you know who's cancel cultured? There's this guy, man. Is it okay, Malum Kuket? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't he accused of something?
He was.
Of assault or something, and then I never heard of him ever again.
He was. I don't know. Generally, I haven't heard much about him in any case because it's not like in my interest line. But I hear you and I agree with you on what cancel culture is supposed to be as opposed to what it is. But again, it goes back to the moral fiber of the society that thing is happening in. You see that morally speaking, our society and our country is not going to cancel things that are morally incorrect. But if it's just vanity, from a vanity point of view, then they will cancel. But here's what I have to say. I think I'm excited by this story for one reason. It goes to show you people really actually do make you, especially if you're in the public figure. And I say this because without those people listening to you, buying your tickets, you wouldn't be there, right? And the people that keep you there are the people that listen, not the execs that see and decide, oh, you're great. I feel like in this instance, remember Euphonic? Euphonic went through his thing and he was quote unquote cancelled for a time in our country, but because he had international, moved the boat too much. But because this guy is still a local and he's still only famous locally, it's gonna damage him a lot. South Africans are very big on supporting what they like. And if they like immoral things, they will support that immoral thing. Chris Brown came to our country and so many women were busy going on about how I'm still buying that ticket. It's positive. You're not going to catch South Africans behind that. Hardly ever.
Hey, this one. This is about Chris Brown specifically. Any girl who's a Chris Brown stan, and I'm talking like stan, like they like Chris Brown's the hottest thing to walk. Character.
Questionable.
I've never encountered a hand who says that about Chris Brown in their okay upstairs.
Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay?
Annie, are you okay? So, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Okay. So our segment is called Judge a Man.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yes.
Where we are
going to be called man haters. They're going to say we hate men.
I will. There are worse things to be called in life. I will. Come on, man.
I think, what's the worst thing to be called? The worst thing to be called is if someone says you're wife material. Yo, that makes me mad. Don't call me wife material. Bite you.
This is our judgment segment, which is make other man of which is make G. So I have a question. Do you think is doing a character? Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, I'm not even joking when I say this. I've never heard my G say anything intelligent. And I mean in the most basic way. Like when he brings thought leaders onto the podcast, it's always insert sexual question. Person says something deep, no respect. Even then I'm like, okay, try. Insert sub. I feel like I might even do a compilation of the times when I'm like, okay, is there anything happening between the 2 ears?
So innocent in that video, man. You look like you're still a virgin. What virgin innocence? You look like you just came out. You think virginity has a relationship with innocence? Yes, that's backwards. It is the pure essence of innocence. That's backwards. You don't think so? No, it comes from a culture that seeks to vilify love and makes us feel ashamed. A culture of interpolating people as having to have shame for their sexual encounters. There is nothing wrong in sex. You should not, as a result of having had sex, be attacked by shame. We must actually remove shame, particularly for the girl child. The girl child is always grown in that situation of having to not be touched by the boys, not to, for themselves also, be comfortable with feeling, with having a positive relationship to their own pleasure. When did you lose your virginity, bro?
You guys don't get circumcised.
Like, I'm actually asking. No, actually, if you're and you feel strongly about this, I want you to point me to a video where you were like, McG had an intelligent take on something. And not about sex. Oh, I dare you to do that. So now I have to, which begs the question, is this a real person? Or maybe this is a character that he does in order to, you know, gain the views that he does. Because,
Can I be honest? I don't think it's a character. Because if you look at, there's a point where I stopped watching McG and there's a point where I started watching, right? I watched him come up. He's got a long history of being let go from shows or quitting shows or whatever because of how he carries himself. In his general nature, he is a pot stirrer. He stirs the pot. And stirring the pot in our society gets you to where McG is now. You can't deny that. Like, it gets you to... And that's good. But I think he himself, to be quite honest, he is misogynistic. I don't know, all the istic words you can think of, he is just being himself, and that's who he is. And I think that's why Soap and Duga is such a good buffer, because in those moments you've seen the gap. Who fills that gap? So, right? I don't think there's any other co-host that would be able to do that for McG the way Soul does.
But it's also not lost on me that by stirring the pot, it's not even just stirring the pot. Because if pot stirring was what you needed, the thinking was why he's on 1 million subscribers. Because she'd be stirring the pot. It's specifically like the sex, like like pay you to watch a 1 hour, like take a shot every single time they say McG say something about sex. You will be an alcoholic by the end of one episode. Do you get what I mean? Like it's like there's this, it's like he's tapped into this like aspect of society where everyone just wants to hear about sex and whatever nasty, dirty thoughts. It's so nasty. Do you remember what he did to Ari Lennox? Ari Lennox was mortified. She was like, oh.
Yeah.
And where we at right now? Is someone fucking you good right now?
Oh my
married?
God. Whoa there.
In the UK, he
giving.
In the UK,
giving out. He came across porn magazines at the age of 7, and therefore my understanding and my relationship with sex was messed up. That's what it's giving. But there's no way every single show,
dude. No, and even with guests, bruh, like sometimes I'm just like, here we send Josie on there. It's still managed. I'm like, oh, skill. You have a skill at this, like, and it's a very concerning, creepy skill to have. You could tell this man, did you know the earth was round? And he will find a way to make it about sex. Like, concerning, I'm very concerned about your mental health. And the other thing I'm concerned about is knowledge. Knowledge.
Knowledge.
So, the Twitter streets say that Naledi used to have a YouTube channel. McG's wife used to have a YouTube channel where she'd spill the tea about her relationship. But now apparently, the videos were privated because she would spill the tea. And some of the things she was saying, I was like, Naledi.
Naledi. He's on the same bed with him and another girl.
And
excuse me? The only person, because all of us are having our own opinions, all of us are saying what we're saying, and never once has she come out, aside from that YouTube channel, since then, she hasn't come out and said, you know what, yeah, I choose this, yada, yada, yada. But I will say one thing, he consistently does disrespect her on his shows, and I think for me, it's very telling because, like, if my partner were to play my voice note of me saying things to him in annoyance or
if my partner were to spill the tea, like that porn story or that part about him where he was asking her, does she think she's the prettiest woman he's been with? Despite, I think, when it comes to McGee, he definitely does have a challenge with the EQ part of just relating to the female counterpart, like generally, aside from just him. And I think it's actually because a lot of women are like pieces of meat. Like most of the time when he talks about women, it's in that regard, right? There was a time I was talking about Tyler. Hey, Tyler dated Mangman. Hey, Tyler this. Hey, Michelle is a HO. Hey, this one. Oh my God! Like everything is about body parts or what the girls are doing with those body parts. And the reason why I brought up Naledi is because we do this a lot in our society. Like, women get blamed for a lot. Your husband is doing something, it's like, well, your wife this. But I'm bringing it up because a lot of it be referencing, a lot of the things he says reference Naledi. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm just like, but then you know what? Another thing the girls were saying on Twitter is that, hey, you guys are like, hey, Naledi, yeah. But you'd be surprised she may even get along with McGee.
No, guys, to marry him, she has to get along with him. To marry him, she has to understand him on a fundamental level. But I think there's a video that we watched. I don't know if we're going to put it up. There's a lady on Twitter that speaks about, not Twitter, on TikTok. She speaks about what you allow in your relationship becoming a normality. So every woman in McGee's life has basically given him the license to speak the way he does about females. Because nobody calls him out about it. Because if people called him out and put him in check about it, he wouldn't find it okay to continue, right? And that's why I think I'm not on the camp where I'm like, I feel sorry for my lady, I don't. I'm not in a bad way, but in a way of, you're not calling out your man. You have accepted this treatment from day one. Okay, let me not say day one because I don't know their relationship, but if you had a YouTube channel out where you were speaking about the things that go on in your relationship, there's an allowance that you allow, and you are still marrying this person, and he still continues to speak about women the way that he does. You are definitely playing a part. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what's going on, because there's a point where you're no longer the victim and you are co-writer to the story. So for me, when it comes to judge a man segment, yes, I'm absolutely judging McGee, but am I on the camp where I'm saying I feel sorry for that lady? No, because she's a grown woman who is making the choice that she makes to stand by her man and not come out and say, actually, guys, I don't agree with my man. Or, actually, guys, I don't know. I think the one woman I've ever seen that sort of calls McGee out, it's Ghost Lady. Ghost Lady calls McGee out all the time on the show, but is that enough? I don't think so, because, again, she's on the co-work.
Yeah, that's also the other thing. Even with Saul, that's why I'm saying Saul is a pseudo nice guy. Saul, yes, can push back a little bit, but he doesn't mean it, because he's still showing up every day, giggling with McGee. They are texting each other, this will be so hilarious. Like, they are on your payroll. Ghost Lady, in my opinion, her first smartest move was to keep her face off, because no matter what controversy they get in, her face is never aligned with those people, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and applaud you and say, yeah, you do push back against McGee if you're showing up at work every day. Because clearly it doesn't mean that much to you. You're still taking the money. You know what I mean? And I think so an interesting question is, where do they feel Maphuma guy? I'm not going to get into that.
Oh, okay, I think that's when you wrap it up, because now... You know what? They film where they film. We also want to film where. Send us an email, okay? We know you see us, okay? Send us an email and say we like your happy. We will come to it.
Yeah, I'm saying, let's not get too deep into it, but I'm just saying, like, if we were to, I actually don't even think it's necessary for that to be a question, because at the end of the day, McGee is the way he is simply because people accept and consume said content. So honestly, this is less on McG and more on the listeners, in my opinion. I'm saying this is less on McG and more on the listeners because, in my opinion, if what McG is saying is so terrible and so egregious, no one should be listening to him. But clearly it's not. So my real beef is not even with McG.
It's with the listeners.
How that too. So is this even still judge a man or judge the audience?
I think because majority of his listeners are
niggas. Yeah. Yeah.
There are some female listeners sometimes the people that defend him are his gender. But I think we have covered everything today, and not to fall on the bad graces of our listeners, I just want to say we have 24 views on our first video. So thank you. Yay!
Going platinum for watching. I'm saying soon we'll be going platinum.
Oh, we will be going platinum for High Thoughts. And just a reminder, we are your source for pop culture without all the other stuff.
Yeah. And there may be unpopular opinions.
There may be what?
Unpopular opinions.
Oh, definitely. No. We are still here to be unpopular in our opinions, but definitely pop culture without the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
we'll see you next time.
I can't believe we're making this a thing. I like it. Period.
Next time, next time I'ma beat my face too.
Girl, you beat your face the first time. I didn't beat my face. I think we just need to talk.
Yeah, I didn't.
But today, anyway, I was gonna come the way I normally come, but because I was going somewhere. This was great. I loved it.
First, let me just stop recording. Okay, bye.